Now, each year, around 9,000 people go missing in Ireland. 20 of them are never found. So what hopes do the families of these people have of ever finding their loved ones?
Crime journalist Paul Williams has been investigating these cases for years, and we're also joined by Bob Shanahan, who is still looking for his son Angus. Gentlemen, you're very welcome to the show.
Thanks,
Paul, if I can just start with you, what do we know about Ireland's missing?
Well, we know that's what your stats are there. How many people go missing every year, how many people are found, how many people remain missing. There are basically, I suppose, about three loose categories. One is the people who go off, take their own lives. Two, there are people who have accidents and their bodies are concealed by nature or whatever, or washed away. And third is the one that upsets. They're all terribly upsetting, but the most upsetting of all is where you think there has been a sinister dimension to it. Somebody has deliberately taken away your loved one, murdered them and concealed their body, and is carrying that secret. And the longer it goes on, and in fact, of all the victims of crime I've met through the years, I've met rape victims, I've met murder victims, maybe people whose families were, murdered, stabbed, attacked, crippled. And it's the and I know Bob's going to talk about it. I've met so many people who they died broken-hearted, looking after loved ones. One person that comes to mind, Jock Corbley, was a guy I used to know. He was a criminal in Dublin. 20 years ago, a fellow called P.J. Judge took him away and gave him the most horrendous murder, a horrendous death. And I remember his mum. I used to go to see her quite a lot. And she died of a broken heart. The most lovely, God-fearing woman you ever met. And Judge took her away, like everybody knew who was involved. And the people who, he took away the body from a group of criminals and buried it and never told anyone who it was. And all these cases are, I don't think there is any comparable sort of heartache.
There isn't, no, without answers. Now, your son, Angus, disappeared. What age was he?
20 years of age.
And this is the year 2000, is it?
The year 2000, yeah.
Tell us what happened.
He was going to a disco. He was working in jail, and he came back in the bus, and he came into I was working the bank, and he came in. He took out €100 in the machine, and he came in €40.
He owed you, is it?
He used to borrow during the week, and he would give me back the €40, and he would. I was busy, and there was somebody with him, so he looked in, and then when he came to give me the money, he was joking. He says, "Oh, if they all knew out there what you would."
Because you were the bank manager, weren't you?
Yeah. If they knew that I was paying you back, and I said, "Yeah, they should charge you more interest." So. But
there actually is footage, isn't there, of your son coming into the bank that day? I think we have. I think we have this CCTV footage of your son, and this is the last time that he was seen.
And this is the coat as well, like he was wearing, like a sunset, which is, you couldn't miss it.
This is the last time you saw your son.
Yes.
Yeah. Was he spotted in CCTV after then coming out of a pub later on that night?
He was, there was another CCTV that's him there coming out of the pub. And he came out.
This is in Limerick, of course.
And Limerick, and he went to. He met two pals, and they were actually. He said he was staying out that night, and that he was going to stay with his pals, but he was going to a disco, so. But he was with pals, and they left about 9 o'clock, and he said he was one of these sociable guys. He spoke to everybody, and he stayed there, and then he rang somebody. At about 10:20, he rang one guy, and he wasn't there. There was no answer, and he rang the second. We checked this out, and they ran the second guy, and the guy was the following morning. He was going, working early. So he said they see him later on.
But he left then, and then there was another sighting, or there was talks of a sighting, or there was a witness that came forward, or that was spoken to at the time, a young woman who had seen him walk into somebody's door and about to ring the doorbell, and then left. Was that right?
She actually parked. She was in the university in Limerick, and she was actually parked the car, and she was waiting for the parking space for Saturday morning, so she wouldn't get a ticket. So she was parking, so she actually spotted him, and he actually came out, and he was walking across the road, and he was just went to the house to knock, He had a bottle of Bud in the hand. So he changed his mind and he put the bottle of Bud down and he walked up that lane. She was the last person to see him.
And nothing after that?
They searched the Shannon and everything?
Oh yeah, there was constant searches, and
nothing?
We sent out posters everywhere, as posters, and also then Father Aquinas would be Nancy's nephew. He set up the website.
Wasn't there a few phone calls though a number of years ago?
There was. I got a phone call about 8 years ago, and it said, by the way, this is a broken phone, so you won't be able to trace it.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, but it was because I was getting to
But what did the person say?
He just said that he was thrown over a wall.
Okay. This is just totally out of the blue, Bob.
Yeah.
You were driving the car at the time, were you?
There was loads of appeals. There was a lot of appeals, you see, and this came from one of them. So I asked him would he ring me back, because it was crackling and going. I couldn't get it. So he rang me back, and I was in the car driving, and there were two of them fighting over space. And here when I was getting this phone call, and that was broken as well. So I asked him, I pleaded him to come back, but they never came back.
Obviously, this man has some kind of conscience. If you rang you the first time, and then if you asked him to call back and he did, obviously there was something.
Well, yeah, he knows this. They're definitely people, I believe, that they know.
Yeah. And Paul, this is the case in an awful lot of these missing persons cases. There are people who have information.
There are people. There are two types of people who will abduct people and take them away. They're called serial killers, and they're called maybe people who are known to them. But in 9 times out of 10, if somebody is taken away and they're murdered, and one person operates on their own, and they're a clinical, quintessential psychopath, then they won't tell anybody. But always somebody shares information with somebody else. Like with Ciara Breen, it just comes into mind in Dundalk. Now, her killer was known and suspected for many years. He died recently of natural causes. And the Gardaí come forward and they say, look, appeal to people, said, we know that people know about this. We know you may have been kids, impressionable, easily scared kids, 16 years of age, 15 years of age when she went missing, Ciara went. Come to us now. You're more mature, you have kids, your own, you have world life experience. There are a lot of cases, like for example, Fiona Pender, Fiona Sennett in Limerick, in Wexford. There are suspects in those cases. Yeah. Then there are cases like
Bob's case, like Angus.
Angus, and nobody knows anything. And sometimes you also have to be very conscious and careful about the fact that some headbanger can pick up the phone and ring you just to try and break heart, or people actually get kicks out of things like that as well.
What do you believe, Bob? I mean, he would be what now, about 37, would if he was, here with us. Do you believe he's still alive?
I don't. I think he's dead, and we were always hoping, appealing to get we were never looking for justice. All we wanted to do was get a body to, and his mother died of a broken heart.
This was Nancy, a lovely photo of Nancy here,
yeah.
She died of a broken
heart. Last year,
she was very close to him.
Yeah. He was the youngest, and he was the one that she
was a fair-haired boy.
Well, he was dyslexia, and she was a teacher, and he was the one that she needed help, and the two of them were great buddies.
Yeah. So you'd be saying here on the show now, I know it's a long time ago, there were appeals, there was that anonymous phone call, you don't know whether or not it was above board or whatever, but what would you say to people watching if they have information?
Well, I would say to at least let us give us information where the body is. I definitely know that people know, not to be afraid. We are not looking for
retribution.
Retribution. Last thing I want to do is go into court and find somebody to give me the 2 fingers after. Yeah. All I want is the body that he can bury with his mother.
Yeah, you said all you want is the skeleton of the body, so he can lay to rest with his own
mother. Yeah. And that'd be her wish. That's
Well, I'm hoping, Paul. I mean, shows like this can help people come forward.
It's amazing. Somebody could be just watching and it just changes everything. And it is absolutely heartbreaking. We've all got families.
Yeah.
It's just to try and get your head around and absorb the thought of one of your kids, your 20-year-old child. You never see them again. They vanish off the face of the earth.
And you don't have any answers.
There is no closure.
And you don't have a place to go to grieve. There's no headstone there that you can go to on his birthday or Christmas.
No.
where you can go there and actually talk to them.
His grandchildren, he's nephews and nieces now.
He's an uncle,
And there was 3 marriages, in the family, and he was missing for those. And one guy who enjoyed the crack was him. He was a sociable. That was his problem. He was too sociable.
I know.
An old friend of mine said, an old friend, a cop from Kerry, and it's poor comfort to you, Bob. We were talking about him earlier on, but he says that the bones of the dead cry out for justice, and you have to believe that. Think of Elaine O'Hara, what happened to her. She disappeared. It was a classical, again, textbook suicide. She was gone. She had issues. She disappears. Then this extraordinary number of events juxtapose to each other, dovetail into each other, and you see this picture emerging, and we get this cold-hearted, psychopathic killer who told nobody. And it's electronics and good detective work and nature that gives up that case.
And her husband is in jail now, and that's it.
The net point is they can be caught.
They can.
And they can
but
be,
back
justice
to,
can
not
be found.
hospital, I should say. Back to that, can I just talk to you, Bob, about the Gardaí and the missing persons unit and all that, in the sense of the help you've had along the way? Are you happy that enough investigations have been done into your son's missing?
In the year 2000, we were very backward in that way, is that people, it was kind of left to the family, suicide and missing. Nobody kind of mentioned the family, kind of looked after it. And we pushed it out there as far as we could. Every politician, everybody, we kept fighting, and Aquinas said with the website, there was a Garda website, and there were only 6 people on it. When that's set up, now things have changed. In England, I was over there, we were all over the different places. In England, they had a special unit, a guard, where you went down, the policeman, you met them there, they helped you out. Salvation Army was the best. But the same thing with the media now. That time, the media, I was told by RTE and RTE that it wasn't news.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, genuinely. So there's different. It has changed completely. Unfortunately, I'd say now that probably gets too much publicity, so it's kind of the thing to do.
But you have to put things back in the spotlight, as Paul was saying there. You can't. Now and again, they have to put the spotlight back on cases.
I understand that. But the things have. But the other thing I would say that is there's a whole lot of cases, and if anything comes out of even one person. Comes out from this show, we have achieved something, so that, and people know. So that, and I appeal to them, first of all, naturally for myself, but for all the other people, because we'd know them well. Nancy was right to them all. She was,
Thank you so much, Bob, for coming in.
Thank you very much, Paul. Great to have you on the show as well. If you have any information you think that could help to find Angus or any other of Ireland's missing people, contact your local Garda station. There is also a National Missing Persons helpline, and that is 1890 442 552.